Hi, this is Ryan Cavender, Technical Trainer on Stealth Products. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Mo-Vis configurator software. This is a free downloadable software that you can get off of our website. It'll allow you to plug in a USB cable from your computer to any one of the Mo-Vis products that we offer. Each one of those products is going to have its own unique set of parameters that you can configure for that end user's needs. There was a new version released April 1st of 2018. If you haven't updated yours in a while or need to download it, I suggest you go ahead and do that. The easiest way to find it is to go to our website, stealthproducts.com, and go to any one of the Mo-Vis product pages on our website. So for an example, we're going to click on alternative drives here. We'll go to proportional drives, and for example, we will click on all-around joystick. About a third of the way down this page is going to be the Mo-Vis configurator software, so we'll jump straight to it. And there's a green banner here that says click to download configurator software. If you click on that, it'll launch a setup wizard and walk you through the setup, and you're good to go. So once you've set it up, go ahead and launch that application, and we're ready to use it. So to start, you'll plug in your computer, plug in your USB from your computer to your device. Make sure you power that device on, and then you're ready to connect. So go ahead and hit this gear icon here for connect, and that'll populate all the information from that device. Under File, we can open, import, or export settings. These are pretty helpful when you're working with a particular population, and maybe you found that you set up this device very similar for each individual in that population. So if that's the case, we can go ahead and save one of those device setups, and then the next time we go out, we can import it into the new device and fine-tune for that individual from there. We can disconnect, and we can also save the device summary. Under View, we can change the language of the Mo-Vis configurator software. Under Tools, we can change our access level. So the very first time you fire up Mo-Vis configurator software, it's going to default to user access. And user access will only let you view and not make changes. Attendant level and dealer are where you can actually start making changes at. Both of those will require a password. If you need that password, give us a call, talk to one of our customer service representatives, and they can give you that password. Under Help, if you click on About, it'll tell you what version of Mo-Vis configurator software you have. And you can click on OK to close that window. But let's look at this device. I'm using an all-around light joystick for an example here. Our device information, I've got the product name, All-Around Omni. So all of the all-around versions will only say all-around here. Omni just refers to the fact that it's got a 9-pin on it instead of another type of connector. The serial number is the Mo-Vis serial number. We put a stealth serial number sticker on this device as well. So anytime you call us up and we're asking you for a serial number from that product, make sure you use the stealth serial number, and that'll help us out. You click on log, it'll give you an error code list from that device. Should one of these numbers be more than 0, you have the option to reset that counter back to 0. So if we fix the problem, we can reset it back to 0, or we can reset all counters here down in the bottom right. If we go to diagnostics, we can run a field diagnostic test in situations when we have a problem with that device. So if we click on field diagnostic test, and then run test, we'll just follow the on-screen prompts. If you're doing this with a power chin boom, now I'm moving the joystick. If you're doing this with a power chin boom, make sure you remove the boom before you start this test. Alright, and the test passed, so this is a good joystick. If it were a bad joystick, it'd give us some information here. Go ahead and record it and let us know, and that might help us figure out what to do from there. So click OK, and it'll close that window. And then under parameters, this is where we start changing how this joystick actually functions for that end user. So So we've got some cool features here that are very unique to the Mo-Vis products. First one is going to be compensation. Compensation refers to road compensation. In cases when the end user is on uneven or bouncy terrain, typically to maintain control of that power chair, they're going to have to slow down. In certain situations, that's not a very easy thing for an end user to do. They may have to reposition a whole arm just to move that joystick around, and that's not ideal. So road compensation will sense when the terrain has become uneven or bumpy and slow the chair down automatically. And when it smooths out again, it's back to full speed, so the end user can hold a full speed command and not have to reposition, but the chair does slow down and maintain control. So to enable or disable this feature, we're going to jump down to the very bottom actually, on compensation mode, and to change it, we'll highlight or select that parameter we want to change, come over to the right here, and now we can change the value. So we'll set it to always on, and apply. Every time you make a change, you need to hit apply. Our other option is manual, and manual will let us put in an activation pattern, and then it turns on or off every time you do that. So we'll go back up here to compensation, and our compensation factor is how much the chair slows down when it does kick in. So we will go ahead and just change this for an example to strong and hit apply. X compensation is going to compensate left and right on top of forward and reverse. If we leave it to none, we only slow down in the forward and reverse plane. So we'll compensate equal to Y, and that way we compensate left and right as well as forward and reverse, and hit apply. And activation deactivation would only apply if we were setting compensation mode to manual. So we'll go over here to tilt sensing. And what tilt sensor is, it's not anything to do with the tilt function of the power chair, but it's to do with how the joystick is mounted to the chair. So in cases where the joystick is mounted to a power chin boom that swings overhead, or possibly in a tray that's being swung over or removed from the chair, that's when we would want to use tilt sensing. And what's going to happen is if we enable it, anytime the joystick passes 40 degrees of rotation, it will not send a command to the chair anymore. The idea behind that is in case you remove that tray and just lay it on the ground, or the chin boom swings above the head, and maybe you're a little too close to the wall and it touches the wall, the chair will not go ahead and just drive on its own in that case. So to change that, we'll highlight it, click on the value, and make our change, and hit apply. Then we get into a little bit more familiar types of parameters. So rotation is our next one. Rotation is going to define which degree we've mounted this joystick in. If it's a normal straight on forward, rotated 90, 180, or 270. And those are going to be in clockwise. So say we had it mounted on backwards, we can click on 180 and apply. Deadband is a pretty interesting feature here. It's the same deadband you're setting in a chair, but this time you're setting it in the joystick itself now. So we're setting that neutral zone, but we're setting it on the joystick. So anytime you make a change here on the joystick, it's going to amplify what the chair settings are doing. So we recommend that you change the settings on the chair before you come over and change the ones on the joystick. But to change that setting this time, I can highlight that number and put in the max 10% here, or I can click on the number. So make my change, hit apply, and we're done. Now that I've made all my changes, I'm ready to push those settings to the device. If I don't do that, these changes won't be effective. So we'll go ahead and come over here to this button that says Store in Device, and click on it. And now my settings are actually in that device. But let's say we test drove it and we didn't like, for example, the deadband setting. Go ahead and plug back in, we'll put deadband, and now we can set it back to default by hitting reset, and then apply. So anytime I make a change, I have to set apply. And that factory reset is available for every parameter. And we can go through and reset each one individually. Or if I want to factory reset the whole thing, I can click on this button right here, and it will reset everything. To save those changes though, I still need to come back over here and store it in device. Once I've done that, we're all done and we're good to go and ready to use that joystick. That is the Mo-Vis configurator though. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to give us a call and we'll help you out the best we can. Thanks guys.